Balake. Where is Balake at?
My name's Blake.
Blake? What? Do you want to go to war, Balake? I'm for real. Aaron.
Aaron is here. Welcome back, everyone, for more SPTV, where every day is a great day not to be in a cult. Okay, guys, tonight we are reviewing part 2 of the amazing series that Amir Baller and his friend Tony recorded going undercover in Scientology in Chicago with hidden cameras. This is the channel. Amir Baller, me and Amir and his friend Tony are going to be doing a chat on my channel tomorrow. And I did already do a reaction video to part 1 of their footage. And part 2 is pretty incredible. So what I'm going to focus on in part 2, we're not going to watch the whole thing. The whole thing's about 40 minutes long. I'll link to it in a pinned comment when I finish with this video. You guys can watch the whole video over on Amir's channel. I'm going to focus on certain parts. First of all, I'm going to show some of the staff members, that work at the Chicago org that Amir and Tony caught on their cameras. I always like finding out from the live chat and from the comment crew who know these people, who these people are. I also want to show you the full video that he posted of the Dianetics auditing session. I think people are going to find this interesting. It's actually not what I think of, what I know to be a normal Dianetics auditing session. And I want to know what some of you guys who have a little more experience delivering Book 1 Dianetics in Division 6, what you guys have to say about this. Okay, so let's see here. Let's start right here in the video. And let me keep my face on the bottom. Let's see if we go like this. If we go like this, I'm not sure what the best view is here. We'll play around with it a little bit. Check out the staff canteen, you guys. Guys, if they had a staff canteen like this at the Philly org when I was in Philly, I would have been happy as a pig in shit. Check this out. Just a quick, oh, look at this. I mean, it's like it's a little coffee shop. I think they got sandwiches there. They got sodas. They got drinks. And I'm not sure. We get a really quick glimpse. They might have the org board up. I'll show you in a minute. Boom, boom. Is that not the org board? Is that not the org board right there on the wall? Or perhaps that is kind of like the monument for all of the Scientology donors who contributed to buy the new building. I can't quite tell because it goes by so quickly. Yeah, I can't quite tell. But anyone who's familiar with the Chicago org, let me know. What's in the staff canteen? Is that an org board or is that a donor list? Okay, so now what's going to happen here? I'm narrating a little bit because I'm going to fast forward through parts of the video. So Amir and Tony have to drive like 3 hours from Wisconsin to the org every time that they go in. And they went in expecting a Dianetics auditing session. Now, it's so funny to me as an ex-Scientologist to see people actually seeking out auditing sessions, even Dianetics auditing sessions. I would have done everything I possibly could to avoid ever having to have a Dianetics auditing session. So it actually gives me a little bit of anxiety to see these guys like energetically pursuing a Dianetics auditing session. And it doesn't even make a lot of sense for me to feel that way. It's not like there's anything crazy going on in a Dianetics auditing session, but I can't help but feel anxiety at people actually following up with the staff members to please, can we have our auditing session? Okay, so they show up for an auditing session and they've driven a long way for it and they don't want to do it one-on-one. And they don't seem to actually understand it's actually not possible to do a Dianetics auditing session in any other version than one-on-one. But the staff members now have to figure out how to handle Amir and Tony on the fact that the auditing session has to be one-on-one. So that's kind of where we're picking it up from. Let's take a look at this.
Scientology juice. You actually spit in my face. I'm not complaining though. We're trying to get him to quit his job.
I said he was excited, but then he got in the way.
All the way from Madison. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, thank you.
I have somebody that can give a Dianetic therapy session. I want to show you guys the film that goes over it, and I will actually explain how it works.
Another film?
Watch it right here.
This staff member's mannerisms also give me a little bit of anxiety and PTSD because it is so obvious that she is mimicking all of the mannerisms from all of the Sea Org members she has worked with. Even her way of speaking gives me anxiety.
No, it's not here. It's actually in our movie room. So it's just one. It's not a group there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Just in the past, we've had a lot of things happen to us. I'd really appreciate if whoever is giving us that little lecture, whatever the session is, could just do the both of us. I don't want that to be what turns us away.
Well, how about you watch the film that actually goes over what it is? I mean, you're not locked in a room.
Yeah.
You're not.
You're not locked in a room.
Like, this is a church. It's not a scary place.
Mm-hmm.
This is a church. This isn't a scary place. As she looks around, I'm going to show this again.
Want to take the stairs?
Hold on.
Yes.
I mean, you're not locked in a room.
Yeah.
You're not. Like, this is a church. It's not a scary place.
Mm-hmm.
Want to take the stairs?
Yes.
Do you want what is with her? Do you want to take the stairs like it's an adventure? I don't know. The funniest things in this video gets me.
Not a scary place.
Mm-hmm.
Want to take the stairs?
Yes.
Do you want to know what I think that is? I think she's like, they told us not to take the elevator because we couldn't afford the electric bill last month. So let's offer to take the stairs so we don't get in trouble.
Just remember it's Tuesday.
Yeah.
Remember last time you were
Yeah, the movie night.
Yeah, it's movie night.
Another one?
Yeah.
Awesome. So
Time they got it, like
7.
7.
Yeah.
Okay, so we came out. We came at a good time.
Tonight.
Yeah. Brings back
There.
memories.
Deja vu, right?
Yeah, right.
What are you looking for?
We've walked
I
into
want to figure you out. You're
interesting.
kind of like interesting guy to me.
I'm blushing.
Better chill
I'm a very blunt person, as
Yeah.
you can probably tell. I'm a very like, whoop, I just go right in. But the thing is,
Tralalero, tralala.
Are you gonna lock us in here?
Okay, I am gonna fast forward through a bunch of this stuff. Let me see. I'll turn the sound off and I'll go. I don't know. There's a lot of footage from this film room. There's a lot of weirdness in the film room. They keep asking them to watch the same Dianetics movie over and over again. The film gets interrupted like halfway through. There's a lot of her most flirtatious type of conversation occurs in, near, or around the film room. It's just weird. I absolutely loved the angles they're getting here of, well, I guess they call it the chapel. Okay, I'm going to count these seats officially. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And there's at least 4 rows. Let's see how many rows there are. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. There's 5 rows. Okay, so if that's 55, okay, they're going to fit maybe 120 people in this room. For a class 5 organization, I mean, that's kind of a lot. Like, you're never going to have that many staff members at staff meeting. You know what would be awesome? You know what would be awesome? I mean, I know Amir and Tony have sort of blown their cover and they can never get back into the Chicago org. But if anyone else ever succeeds in infiltrating the Chicago org, it would be interesting to see what the attendance is at a full-blown official Scientology international event. And that's New Year's Eve event, which is usually on New Year's Eve. Sometimes they do it a day or two early. The March 13th event, the L. Ron Hubbard birthday event, that's usually held somewhere between March 13th and March 17th. There is a series of events in the summertime, pretty much between June and July, to celebrate the maiden voyage and the anniversary of the maiden voyage of the Free Winds cruise ship. And then they don't really do the Dianetics event anymore as an official international event. They did this last year, but that's only because it was like the 70th or 75th anniversary. And then they have an IAS anniversary event, usually sometime in August. For those major international events, if someone were to be undercover in the Chicago org and see how many people showed up to fill up this chapel room, that would be the most number of Scientologists that you would ever be able to gather together in one place at one time in Chicago. And that would be like, that would be a really good measurement of how many people are active at the Chicago org. Now, the other way to get a good measurement is just to have someone sort of go undercover as a staff member and be privy to all the internal statistics. But, I don't want to ask for too much. Okay, let's keep going here. Okay, so that's the chapel. And let's see. I already remember kind of generally what they talk about during these clips. So I'm just kind of fast forwarding through. Again, we have a staff member there. Who's that older woman there? We saw her in part 1. I'm trying to get a good shot of her. If anyone knows who that is, would be interesting. They have Scientology TV, which is absolutely hilarious to me. Okay, just some more film room nonsense. They have a lot of fun in the film room, but for our purposes, we're going to skip it. Oh, they start wandering around the org, and that gets them into a little bit of trouble. And anyway, oh yeah, look, she starts getting very uncomfortable here. Let's see what's going on.
If you want, you can
that
just.
one actually is important because it's.
Yeah, I mean, we got the
over-
gist of it. How much time was left in it?
Not that much. It was very short. It's actually very short. It's only 18 minutes.
Okay, I feel like we got the
Yeah.
gist of it. If you want to just move on to the next, unless we
I don't
kind of
know.
have to.
No, I think it'll give you more of
We
an
have
idea.
to.
What I got going on over?
To
Oh, that's TV night.
that's
Tonight.
I thought.
Right, with the food and everything?
Yeah, but they're about to like do something. I don't know if they're about to like have a show.
Oh, this is the foundation stuff coming in. So you
Oh.
know how there's day staff and night staff?
Yeah.
Can we
The
like
night
join them
staff.
or is that like?
No, they said we
that's
can't
just for the
join.
staff.
Why? So staff checks in and out here like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like
you know
clocking
how
in,
you go
clocking
to
out?
a job and like you have your meeting?
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Oh, really?
No, I don't know how you go into a job and everyone. I guess in some sales jobs, the sales crew likes to assemble and do some sort of a meeting when they begin their day. But she starts to be for just about the first time seems to be somewhat uncomfortable with how she's having to answer the questions or how she's having to dodge answering the questions. When the truth is, it's pretty simple. The day crew is rotating out and the night crew is rotating in, and they have a staff meeting to begin the shift. It's not that big of a deal.
I'm not trying to be that guy who acts like everything was sus, but she kind of was tiptoeing back and forth with her words here. All the employees meet for the chapel a few times a day, and if you ask me, I think that's why she had paused it or accidentally stopped it. All the employees in the chapel looked pissed at us for entering, and even she said don't go. And obviously we had to pretend like we didn't know what it was, but here's a clip of Reckless Ben who happened to get in there, and he's honestly a very good YouTuber who did something similar. Y'all should go check him out.
Shall we begin?
So this is super interesting. So what Amir and Tony walked in on in the chapel was, like I just said, the day shift is rotating out. The night shift is like a completely different organization. And Scientology organizations always start with a staff muster before production starts. But another channel, Reckless Ben, a number of years ago, infiltrated Scientology in LA for a number of weeks, if not a few months. What Reckless Ben recorded was actually a group auditing session at a Scientology Sunday service. Definitely different than a staff meeting. But let's take a look at that footage here.
Sit in your chair. It's easy enough, isn't it? Sit in your chair. Very good. Sit in your chair. Very good. Sit in your.
Hey, fat ass, come on.
Yeah. A group auditing session looks absolutely insane to anyone on the outside.
Hey, be careful not to trip this time, Tony. No, you're fine. Be careful not to trip, pal.
Go.
Okay, good. All right. So then we have some more film room nonsense. It's amazing how often they want to send these guys off into the film room. You really get the sense that it's just to kill time when they don't really know what else to do with them at the moment. And let's see. So now the way they are trying to handle, they're still like super nervous about trying to handle them on getting a one-on-one Dianetics auditing session. And so they try to use it as an opportunity for an upsell to get them to do the Hubbard Dianetics seminar course, where they would both learn how to do Dianetics auditing, and then they can audit each other. So let's take a look at that.
Is that going to be, would that be able today too?
How much is the Dianetics seminar and co-audit? Isn't that like 100 plus like $100? How much is the co-audit?
Yeah. A religion you have to pay for?
Now, people do this. it is possible. You can buy the Dynamics kit. I think it's $75. And people buy that and they just go home, study it, and audit each other.
So for some reason, they're now trying to sell them something different. So the Hubbard Dynetics seminar course is a course that you would do in the course room at the org. The Hubbard Dynetics kit is like something that you would order, you know, on the 1-800 number if you saw a Dynetics infomercial and they would send you a DVD and a how-to, you know, type deal. And it's funny that they're having trouble figuring out how to handle these guys.
That is something you could do.
So you guys are interested in the session?
The one-on-one, yeah. We'll just get that one-on-one going. We were hoping to see what that was like anyway today.
Do we do that right now, or do we do it after the?
So I thought you guys might have done it a little earlier, but then
By the way, I got to give her kudos for keeping her cool during all this.
since you guys wanted to do it together, like I wanted to show you that enlightenment, so you
Yeah.
actually knew why it wouldn't make sense to do it
Yeah.
together.
Is that something we could do right now?
Do we have someone
We
right
have
now?
our free introductory sessions are on the weekends. But I can.
By the way, so this guy who keeps talking about when he would have to do the free introductory session, he's not even the one who ends up doing the session.
Kind of like schedule you, and they're not all day. It's
Yes,
not
it-
all day.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
Yeah,
like
but that's
a 3-hour period.
y'all. It's you kind of told me that after I bought the book, so I get your intention was for me to buy the book, but you know we were really hoping to look into what this place has to offer
So
and
like, you ever
join,
have
but
like a morning?
I literally do not, especially on
No, it's okay.
weekends.
I already handled it.
Okay.
I wasn't sure what you wanted to do after.
Mhm.
So we can have you scheduled for tomorrow, like right away.
So we basically just drove 3 hours, more than 3 hours, for you guys to kind of brush us
really?
off for the weekend.
Well,
That feels kind of disrespectful. No, I'm not
That's
gonna
what
lie.
I said we can handle it
For tomorrow,
Sure.
but then if that was for
Yeah.
tomorrow, we wouldn't have drove today, because that's kind of why I texted you like 4 times.
Yeah.
You know.
In case you can't tell, yeah, I was actually pissed here, and reasonably so. Every time we show up,
It's funny. It wasn't until he did this little explanation that he's about to give that I truly understood how sincerely they wanted these auditing sessions. I sort of thought they were just giving him a hard time, but they really wanted the auditing session. And I was like, my mind is blown. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward through this part right here, and let's get to actually the next section might be the actual auditing session itself. No, then they go back into the chapel and they're chatting with those folks. Oh, is this? Nope. Then we're back to the film room. You know what? This is kind of interesting. Let's watch this.
bro, I didn't even have any brownies in the first place. I didn't need anything. That's all Tony Balsakovich. I would never trust what y'all put out there.
Okay, so you're not hungry. Okay, you are hydrated and did you get enough sleep last night? What'd you say?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
feel well rested?
Yep, I'm perfect.
So that says central file.
Okay, great. Well then, great. Okay, so then I'm gonna have you watch chapters 5 and 10
All
before
right.
you go in session, and then your auditor will come and then I'll take you in session.
Sounds good.
Yeah, man. More films, and it's films that they had already seen. And then she's having him fill out the application for his free introductory 6-month membership into the International Association of Scientologists. And then they do that. And then I forget. Oh, same thing. What's happening here? Oh, that's his auditor. He's going with his auditor. All right, let's see what that conversation is like. Hold on.
Right, perfect. Appreciate you very much.
You know,
It was a
worked it
pleasure. I'll
out.
come back soon. I'll see you soon.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'll tell you to be here. And if
I'm
I'm not,
ready.
then just text me, okay?
No worries. Sounds
Okay.
good. Thank you.
Where are you from with the accent?
I'm from a different country.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Where's that?
It's called Albania.
Oh, right on. Sometimes we'll get rolling at about 8.
Uh-huh.
It could go to 9. It could go to 9:30.
I'm fine with it even being quick. 'Cause I don't.
Even knowing that they are about to walk into an auditing room gives me anxiety. It is crazy. I mean, never once in my entire life did I have an auditing session that I willingly participated in. Like like just even the questions that he was being asked to make sure he was sessionable, which is the Scientology word for being well fed and well rested enough to have an auditing session. It's like, that's where the anxiety starts to set in. And now the auditor is explaining that the session could last an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. I'm like, oh my goodness.
I don't want to hold you too long or anything.
No problem. All right. So you watch the explain
I love the sound effects.
basically
Yeah. Oh man, this is
basically how
oh man, this has got me. This is
Okay, the doll. I love the doll. Okay, so instead of going into a dedicated one-on-one auditing room, they are going into the Dianetics co-audit space. And that doll is used when people are practicing various auditing procedures. The coach holds the doll in front of them or like on their lap. And the student who's practicing the auditing is supposed to look at the doll in the eyes and give the doll the auditing commands when practicing so that the coach doesn't accidentally go into session and start running the commands on himself. In my opinion, it's totally ridiculous. But that's the way all Scientology and Dianetics auditor training is done.
this is off-putting walking into this. Yeah.
Well, you can have a seat here. This is what we do. So you do drills, and because you're still learning, I'm actually trained to do the seminar. Name?
Tyrone Serbianovich.
All right. My middle name is Andreevich.
Really? Where? What is your background?
Ukrainian and Georgian.
Ukrainian, also, and Georgian.
Yeah.
That's a great mix.
Thank you.
How long have you been a part of Scientology?
Oh, 97. Well, when I was a kid, my dad had me do some courses on how to use a dictionary and all these things just to help out. But I
Yeah.
wasn't really a Scientologist yet.
Mhm.
I'd say I really became a Scientologist after 2002
All right.
because I had a personal problem I needed solved and it helped. So
The dude could have just answered the question over 20 years, but he had to give his little, before I started taking Herbalife shakes, I was well, you guys get it. The before and after pitch.
Notice they all have something in common. They became Scientologists because of something wrong in their life. And obviously there's nothing wrong with that in particular because many people turn to religion during their lows in life. But keep in mind the aspect of looking for vulnerable people. And how does this exactly tie into the core fundamental belief of how Scientology actually started? For example, the volcano right behind them. You keep seeing them throughout the building, even in the Dianetics books themselves. What does that represent exactly? Well, don't you remember Xenu and how he took all of his little aliens and put them in volcanoes, and then one city.
All right, we're going to fast forward to the actual auditing session. All right, here we go.
you had a wife before?
I have. I don't want to call it divorce. I'm technically.
Or some.
All right. Are you single, married, divorced?
Guys, I actually have no idea what the purpose of these preliminary questions are.
Single.
Have you had a wife before?
I have. I don't want to call it divorce. I'm technically divorced, but that was off an arranged marriage with my cousin. So
Totally fine.
yeah,
What's your height right now?
6'2". But if you're a girl online, I like to say 6'6".
What's your weight?
Well, we could pass on that.
The fact that he even let him pass on the question indicates the questions are worthless and meaningless. And for the sake of the auditing, these questions are worthless and meaningless. I have no idea why these questions are being asked.
Okay. And you have a foreign language as your first language, yeah?
Correct.
That's
Albanian, Serbian, Spanish, and English.
have you ever been hypnotized?
Maybe.
I mean, like where you voluntarily had somebody do either deep talk or anything where you go completely unconscious and then you don't remember any of it, anything like that. And then have you been psychoanalyzed?
Guys, I also don't know the purpose of these questions other than the fact I thought I knew the purpose of them as I was listening to them for the first time. And then as they progressed, I was like, no, it's not what I was thinking. Normally, questions like this are being asked by the ethics officer to determine if there's any reasons why you are actually not eligible to do Scientology courses in auditing. And they call those interviews the A to J check because there's a reference called sources of trouble. And they go from A to J. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. That's 10. So 10 different sources of trouble. And they're asking you questions to determine whether you fit into one of those sources. That's like, do you work for the government? And are you, do you have any family that works for the CIA or the FBI? So anyway, any of you in the live chat or in the comment section that has experience working on the Hubbard Dianetics seminar line in Division 6, help me understand, why are they asking these questions?
Psychologists, not drugs, but just.
I don't think so.
Okay. Have you ever had shock therapy?
No.
Ever had a psychosis that you're aware of?
No.
Severe neurosis that anyone labeled? Do you ever have any dramatizations? That means, do you get mad? Do you get sad, etc., the same way every time?
No.
All right. Do you know of any psychosomatic disorders or illnesses, verbal tick, anything like that? Do you have a serious illness, like physically? What operations have you had? I mean, like dental, stitches, anything?
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay. Do you have corrective lenses, or is it just for the light?
It's just blue light glasses, really. Even though it's not blue light, it helps me.
Okay, good. I have to jump in here because later on in the video, the guy who's working at reception now, guys, and realize in a Scientology organization, being the receptionist is not necessarily the low-level type of position that in a corporation being a receptionist might be. Being a receptionist, you're in Division 1 HCO. There's special qualifications to work in Division 1, and you also sort of have, depending on how many staff members are working in the division, you sort of have a secondary role as being security. The receptionist is the one who not only notices on the security cameras that they're walking through hallways, opening doors, and comes to confront them, but the receptionist is also the one who says, "Hey, can you come here for a minute? Can I see your sunglasses?" And then he looks and then he goes, "So these are recording, aren't they? That's a camera." The fact that the freaking receptionist, who was not as close face to face with a mirror as this auditor was, the fact that the receptionist noticed that there was something wrong with the sunglasses, and the freaking auditor, whose number one job is to carefully and closely observe the person that he's auditing, the auditor did not notice or suspect there was anything unusual about these sunglasses, is unbelievable to me. And I see some people asking, is the mirror going to get, what are they going to do with the mirror? Some people might be wondering, what is Scientology going to do with this auditor? Because being able to observe is like supposed to be like the number one skill of an auditor. And this guy sat here for an hour and a half directly across from him, looking directly at him, and not even once suspected there was anything amiss. It's truly incredible.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I have somebody here has the same thing.
Yeah.
You have childhood illnesses. What kind of accidents?
2 hours later.
What is your view of your early childhood?
What is your view of your early childhood? I'm going to let, I'm sorry to keep interrupting so much, but I have relatively limited experience with Book 1 Dianetics auditing procedure. But my recollection is, in order to start a Dianetics auditing session, you're trying to find an incident of pain and unconsciousness that they can comfortably face. And that's why I don't understand all these sort of softball weird questions. And they start running what seems to be some type of Dianetics procedure on something that doesn't seem to have any pain or unconsciousness in it. And this is why I'm looking for feedback on people who have more experience with the Div 6 Dianetics seminar line than I do, because I'm a little adrift on all this right now.
It was great.
Do you have people, when you try to remember them, you have trouble remembering? It doesn't have to be family members.
Not quite. No.
You see people from your past, like involuntarily popping up. How well can you see a picture of anybody that you've ever known?
Like visually in my head?
Yeah.
I'd like to say pretty well.
Okay. Close your eyes.
All right.
Okay, now picture a cat. Is that a cat you've known?
Yes.
Now create a cat that you've never seen before. Like,
Okay.
can you make a cat? Obviously, you've never
Yeah,
seen a pink
my pink cat has a bow tie.
Good.
Mhm.
So the one you've seen, we call that a picture,
Yeah.
right? And then the one you made up
All right.
is, combined from data you have from life. Obviously, it's a cat, but that we call a mock-up.
Okay, so right now, from what I can tell, he's running him through steps to just familiarize himself with some of the basics that are involved in a Dianetics auditing session. So I guess I guess I'm going to rediscover what's happening here in real time with you guys, because I don't remember how they actually get into the meat of the auditing session. So let's just keep going.
It's confidential and
Yeah, I'm not allowed to say
Yeah.
all of this goes
Mhm.
into a
Oh,
folder.
this is fantastic. I'm going to rewind this a second here. Listen to what he says carefully.
Called a mock-up.
everything's confidential and
Yeah, I'm not allowed to say
Yeah.
all of this goes
Mhm.
into a folder that not even everybody knows where it is. I've had just
Literally everybody in a Scientology organization knows where the auditing folders are.
almost about everything said to me in this session.
Okay.
So I'm not personally offended. Just tell me whatever you'd like.
My father's name, I have never met him, but his name was Cornelius Balsakovich. In English, it's unfortunate because people used to call him Balsakovich. But yeah, Cornelius Balsakovich. I don't know if you met my homie that I'm with, but that was his uncle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I see a question in the chat that I want to take up right now from Ricky Glazer. Good to see you, Ricky. How come there was no e-meter? Very, very good question. This Dianetics auditing is only considered an introductory level of auditing. The actual type of Dianetics that is considered mainline bridge auditing is called New Era Dianetics. And it actually has almost no similarity to what they call Book One Dianetics. They call it Book One Dianetics because Dianetics was the first book L. Ron Hubbard wrote on the subjects of Dianetics and Scientology. And the procedure given in Book One is very specific and is almost the exact opposite of the procedure currently practiced with New Era Dianetics. So Book One Dianetics does not use an e-meter. New Era Dianetics does use an e-meter. And New Era Dianetics is actually a relatively advanced auditing level in Scientology and is the type of auditing that they do where you're supposed to achieve the state of clear. Whereas Book One Dianetics, you're doing to any brand new person right off of the street. Excellent question.
My mother, I haven't met my mother. Whoever he married was an absolute skank.
Yeah. You know
Yeah,
if your dad's alive still.
that's a good question. It beats me. Probably drinking out of a Bud Light somewhere. Yeah, don't they all?
Mm-hmm. Your buddy's what, half cousin?
Yeah, but I call him a cousin. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we weren't even related. Sometimes life is just a gimmick you have to play along with, you know?
I like that.
I can't lie, that was a fucking bar.
Okay, good.
All
So
right.
now you know.
Yes, sir.
You will remain aware of everything which goes on here.
Mhm.
You pull yourself out of anything you get into if you don't like it.
Okay, this is the official start of the auditing session.
Mhm.
Right. Good. Close your eyes.
All right.
Okay. In the future, let's return to dinner last night.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the problem. It was the editing. The editing is why I don't know how they started the actual procedure. All right, let's keep going here a little bit, though.
What do you taste?
Gas station lettuce.
Okay. What do you hear?
But again, he's asking to recall, dinner from last night. This is not a moment of pain and unconsciousness.
I hear a Spanish man singing the ABCs backwards.
Fair enough. What do you feel in terms of temperature?
I feel
Again, this just seems to be a memory exercise, not an actual Dianetics auditing session.
Tony Balsakovich touching me.
Okay. Where?
Well, we were playing along. He was kind of touching me in inappropriate places.
Okay, good. What can you smell?
Lavender. He had this lavender perfume he sprayed from his ex-girlfriend who he robbed.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
All right. Fair enough. So now, what was the thought that occurred to you at the time?
Why lavender? Why not like cedar wood or something else? Like if you're gonna steal something, at least smell like a pimp, you know?
Okay. Sounds good. So now let me ask you this question. Who was the most controlling person in your life?
Probably my Aunt Martha.
Okay. When she got angry or very emotional, what would she say?
She would say, "You're nothing but a fat Albanian ginger.
Okay, good. Repeat it.
You're nothing but a fat Albanian ginger.
Good. Repeat it.
You're nothing but a fat Piece of shit, worthless, gay Albanian ginger.
I just want to clarify here. I'm not gay. I just had to add detail type shit. So if any 420-pound torta baddies want to hit my line, please feel free to do so.
You're nothing but a fat piece of shit Albanian ginger who gets no bitches and is gonna have a little private part for the rest of his life. You're nothing but a fat Albanian ginger.
What do you see?
See my Aunt Martha and my Aunt Tabitha playing Connect 4 and not allowing me to join in.
Got it. Begin at the beginning and recount it.
Yeah, this is the point where I was like, I'm totally lost. The Dianetics auditing procedure is supposed to be used to run out incidents involving pain and unconsciousness. And yet what they are doing is much more similar to another Scientology auditing procedure called ARC Straightwire, which is really just memory exercises. And I just didn't realize that they would do anything like this in an introductory Dianetics auditing session. When I was in Philadelphia, it was never my job to work in Division 6 where they do the introductory Dianetics auditing sessions. But every now and then I would somehow get stuck supervising those activities. And it was absolutely common for brand new people doing the Dianetics procedure for the very first time to get into very serious, emotionally charged incidents of pain and unconsciousness. So I like, is there some new thing with the Hubbard Dianetics seminar where they like soft pedal this and make it just like really light and just a memory exercise instead of actual Dianetics? That's kind of like what I'm wondering.
Repeat that.
Begin at the beginning.
Okay. Okay. Is this something I do verbally or?
Yeah. Just tell me as you experience it.
I remember I was on timeout for eating one of my Aunt Tabitha's orange biscuit treats. And my Aunt Martha, just as I mentioned, she would often come at my weight. And so she put me on timeout and didn't let me eat anymore that whole week. And so I do remember right after that, sitting in the corner after being abused and touched badly, as they were playing Connect 4, and I wanted badly to join in, but they did not let me, and she would state that I am a fat Albanian ginger.
Got it. So I'm going to do something called a flash answer. You familiar with it?
You're going to flash me?
I see Amir has joined the chat. Good to see you, Amir. We're having a lot of fun watching this portion of part 2 of your video. Looking forward to our chat tomorrow. This is a particularly funny portion of the auditing session that we're about to watch.
Flash answer. So I'm going to do something called a flash answer. You familiar with it?
You're going to flash me?
Flash answer.
Oh, okay, okay.
The first thing that flashes into your mind. I'm going to ask you this question, and you tell me the first thing that flashes into your mind. How old are you?
20.
Good. Now, in this incident with the Connect 4, let's begin at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Tell me what's happening as you move through it.
I was eating my Aunt Tabitha's orange biscuit. It was her last one.
What's the day?
No clue.
Was it a Sunday?
It was not.
Was it a Monday?
Definitely not.
Okay. Was it a Tuesday?
No.
Was it a Wednesday?
No.
Was it a Thursday?
Sounds about right.
Yeah, okay, Goldilocks. Glad you got the right porridge, just right face ass motherfucker. Basically, the whole audit is just repetition, straight for an hour and a half. Obviously, I didn't go too deep. But
Oh my God, when he said it went for an hour and a half, that's where the anxiety kicked in. I would usually start falling asleep. Like I only personally had to receive Dianetics auditing sessions for maybe a dozen and a half hours as a child. And it was brutally mind-numbing. I mean, I just remember falling asleep in the auditing session. I remember being hot. I remember the sun coming in the window. And I remember knowing you cannot end the auditing session until it gets to a good point. That'll be interesting to chat with Amir about that, about how did this thing actually end eventually. But 90 minutes of this.
But imagine doing this when you're talking about your most traumatic experiences in life. Many people say the goal of this repetition is to get you into a septic state, sort of how you saw earlier with the chapel and many other things. You're repeating everything like a good boy, okay? So who's a good little boy? Yeah, you little bitch. So, yeah, sorry. Anyways, I had to keep my story straight here throughout this whole session. Obviously, I was talking about stuff along the lines of my Aunt Martha and my Aunt Tabitha didn't let me play Connect 4 with them, so instead they beat me and starved me for being fat and shit like that. Next story I used for the second audit, how I fell down the stairs as a child in my country and how that basically served as a poetic but painful moment for me in life.
Now, the falling down the stairs incident sounds much more like more of a typical thing that you would address in a Dianetic session.
I don't know, it worked.
What was the most bizarre thing you've heard in a session like this?
Well, she's long gone, so I can tell you that
She's long gone.
a woman was basically an arranged marriage, but the guy like
Kind of like me with my cousin.
Yeah. Oh, you're telling me. Okay.
Tony, I was just telling you, my ex-wife. Yeah. You remember that little bitch?
Whenever they meet up, he's got to find out. They've got to get on the same page for all the fake people that they're talking about. Okay, now I remember there was another thing that I wanted. Oh yeah, this is when they start walking around the org, and yeah. And they start, oh, yeah, this is where you see some staff members now that you normally would not see because they work in the course rooms in Division 4. They work on different floors than the intro areas in Division 6. And, okay, yeah, let's watch this.
Escaping class to walk around the hallways.
Well, I don't know.
And by the way, you then find out pretty soon that they are being watched on the security cameras. And then the guy comes to confront them.
I feel
With a glass. No lady saw us. It was above us.
Okay, so that says Academy on the sign that they're walking under says Academy, which is the major course rooms in Division 4. And that sign says course rooms. And that says Academy Theory.
No.
And that is the Academy Theory course supervisor. So this person is most likely a very long-time dedicated staff member who I'm guessing might have even trained in Clearwater, Florida. And I'd love to know who she is.
Good, how are you? What goes on in this room? Is this like courses or?
I think it's interesting to see how small the course room is, how empty it is, how it's even part of the occupants are actually staff members, not even public. Not unusual for a Class 5 organization. But let's keep watching.
Awesome.
I see one public back there who's doing a drill that looks like there's probably someone sitting in front of him, but we cannot see that other person.
Thank you. Not a single thought behind those eyes, bro. I swear to God. Oh, you saw that guy in the corner?
She pointed at like we could read.
She thought we were gonna see academic theory and like know what that means, really.
Oh yeah. And this looks like it's the bookstore. And it looks like that's a birthday game trophy. That big silver trophy is a birthday game trophy. I don't know. I can't. What does that say? I can't tell what the thing is on the left. Hold on, guys.
Yes.
Oh, it does say Chicago
Sir.
Org, so it's some other award.
Interesting. L. Ron Hubbard all over the place.
And that says children's play area, which is interesting.
Cool.
What?
Yo, man.
What a small, nasty play area.
Sorry to bother. I'm Tyrone. This is my cousin Tony. I'm Tyrone Servianovich.
Tony Balzac.
We showed up here a few.
Okay, so I'm going to mute it here just because there's an awful lot of conversation just about the purification rundown, and she's explaining stuff to them about the vitamins and the sauna and everything. And bada bing, here comes the security guard / receptionist. Uh-oh, got to get the sound back on.
Yeah.
Are you guys, like, what are you guys doing?
We were just walking around checking it out. We're hoping to visit more frequently. We take drives from Wisconsin every time we get here. Just curious.
You guys on the cameras checking doors?
I saw you guys on the cameras checking doors. My first thought was, where the hell are you watching the cameras? Is there like normally at the Flag Land Base in Clearwater, Florida, where I live, there's specific stations where the security guards watch, like 20, 30 screens. I'm not aware of receptionists being able to watch security cameras. So it makes me wonder if they actually have the ability to do that at the reception desk of the Chicago org, or if there's maybe another security station somewhere and that person is calling the receptionist. If anyone at the Chicago org knows how that works, I would love to know. Oops, hold on. Let's get.
Every time we get here, it's
You
curious.
guys on the cameras checking doors, and it's just not usually something
Yeah.
that people normally do.
That's right. And he's not wearing a staff uniform right now.
I mean, it's just a little unusual.
No, we were just looking because we saw the Children's Play Center, and that was, obviously that caught our attention. But
I mean, we're interested in Scientology, so we wanted to get a full grasp before we really delve head first.
We'll leave if it's something that makes it look.
I mean, I can just,
Yeah. No, I can definitely see how that would. Yeah. No, we got the tour. We just earlier they couldn't take us to the above floors, so we just did that ourselves before we left. No worries.
just check it.
All right. Thank you.
But here is the sauna after you're running.
Okay, good. We're going to fast forward to the purification rundown talk. I did think it was interesting that the sauna was so small for a space that is otherwise relatively large, dedicated to the purification rundown. But let's see here. Dun, dun, dun. Yep, she just goes on and on and on about the purif. Okay, here we go. Dun, dun, dun.
Scientologist, meaning his grandparents were Scientologists.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The receptionist dude says he was 4th gen Scientologist. That actually means his great grandparents were Scientologists.
Scientologist, meaning his grandparents were Scientologists when L. Ron Hubbard basically made the religion. Wasn't going to let it slide.
All right.
It's interesting that he is sitting at the reception desk without being in a proper staff uniform.
No shot.
She said first floor. The time that we told her we're outside.
Yeah, until I was about 16 and a half.
You came here?
Yeah.
Did you go to school while you came here? No.
No, I graduated
Early? Nice. Very nice.
I felt
Right.
it was awesome.
Why you hate school?
It's just bad environment.
Did you guys talk about it? Like, did
We
you
spoke
decide-
about it. We spoke about my ex-wife and how I had an arranged marriage with her because she was my cousin. Yeah.
Drinking and walking with you?
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, can I see your sunglasses real quick?
Yeah.
Can I see this real quick?
Yes, sir.
So you're recording, right? I mean, this is a camera.
No, they can't record even if I wanted to. You can Google the types of glasses they are.
Guys, I'm going to rewind just to because you see this girl here, right?
And how I had an arranged marriage
Right, her.
with her because she was my
I'm trying
cousin.
to get a good shot.
Yeah.
Come on. How many hours has this girl spent with Amir and Tony face to face? Much closer face to face than that receptionist got to them. So how many hours, have they spent with her and the other girl who works in Div 6? I'm telling you, these guys are in trouble. I mean, the receptionist is probably going to get a commendation for catching that these were recording sunglasses after having very minimal interactions with them and for catching them on the cameras. He's the only guy there doing his actual job. All right, let's keep going.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, can I see your sunglasses real quick?
Yeah.
Can I see this real quick?
Yes, sir.
So you're recording, right? I mean, this is a camera.
No, they can't record even if I wanted to. You can Google the types of glasses they are.
Crotch shot.
Okay.
No, he actually got like a condition where he can't look at.
I just find every second I'm exposed to that.
You touching too many buttons on this. I'm not gonna lie, so.
Touching too many buttons on it.
Why is the
Yeah.
lens?
I mean, I guess we'll see if not.
Yeah, see this real quick.
Oh, right.
If you're not lying, right?
Yep. Just
Yeah,
go through it.
there should be nothing really to worry about,
Yes, sir.
Let's check this out real quick.
By the way, isn't it interesting that the security guy, he's security conscious, to the extent that he's calling them out on something that he thinks is violating the security of the org, but not security conscious enough not to plug a stranger's external device into an org computer. I'm not sure he's going to get credit for that. Hold on, he does say something here. Hold on.
See if this battery works. So as you're watching, my glasses were almost confiscated. I was not nervous at all. In fact,
yeah, I'm going to fast forward through this. He explains why he wasn't nervous about having the being found out about anything. But then they go fast forward to when they're being confronted on it more.
I know, it's disrespecting.
Yeah. Smiling. Tony Balsakovich, same shit.
We feel disrespected right now. It's disrespecting.
Yeah, but listen to this, okay?
Completely invading my comfort.
It's not a good
And I'm
use of
telling you-
Scientology either, because you usually react to mine.
No, it's whatever. You could call the cops. They can come wherever they want to my house, mess or whatever. Yeah, thank you.
I think that poor Div 6 girl right now is realizing everything that she's been doing with these guys, and that she now is like, oh my God, was it all recorded? I can't even believe it.
Very much.
That asshole, remember, if the police come straight up, what they gonna say? He's gonna say, no, he just had guts. That don't mean shit. We're just gonna tell the police straight up.
As you can see in the end there, we kind of ended up making a run for it with the glasses and Tony's nuts. Basically, when they saw no footage come up, they ended up believing us. Until as we're talking to the lady outside, that young gentleman comes back and tells us that either we give him the glasses to keep and whatever he does with it, or he calls the cops. And we told him, call the cops. What are you going to do? Tell them that I'm not giving you my belongings. Although Illinois is unfortunately a two-party consent state, the reason I was able to get away with this is because, one, I'm not profiting off of a particular individual in any way from these or any of my videos. Two, I'm not using any recordings for criminal evidence. Not that I really needed to per se, but I consulted with a lawyer. It's mentioned multiple times, we're not looking to expose Scientology or anything negative at all. We went in with the neutral opinion. We did everything that was asked of us. And in no way did we put words into anyone's mouth or speak beyond our own experiences and the facts. I mentioned multiple times that I wanted this video to be different for that reason, and the fact that I'm not letting any of my opinions or others' opinions get in the way to harass any of these individuals, which is again why I don't leak any of their information, including their name. Everything Scientology related is watched by a member of Scientology on the internet, meaning somebody in Scientology is watching this video right now. No secrets are to be kept in a building with a sign outside that says all are welcome. And as far as personal reasons on both ends, it is for that is why I have limited certain clips and info. This is how I'm going to wrap the video up. As I mentioned, I'm not profiting off this, though I do have this book that I bought. You can see in part 1. I got 2 of the members to sign it. It's unwrapped and I'm making a part of a giveaway. I'm going to put the link in the description whenever I have it. Basically, you buy a flag, all that profit is going to a charity in Albania for children and family with special needs who could really use it. And one lucky or so person will get this book in their package. Although it does sound like a weird thing to do, I do want to make it known that the reason this is even possible is because of my content. So this book does tie into a lot of the content that I have made recently, and I feel like it would be a little bit of a gem to get if you're buying a flag for that reason, along with helping people. That being said, I honestly never planned on doing YouTube. This was something I started doing out of the blue on Shorts. A full video just became on demand, and I wasn't opposed to it. As you can tell, I only really did music before this on YouTube, but I do have a lot of plans to go forward in this direction. Me and even Tony Balsakovich are currently a part of other cults and other marginalized or unpopular, hard to reach groups. If that's something you think you'll be interested in seeing in a similar way, stay tuned. Love you.
Very, very cool. And let me show you guys one more time Amir's channel. You guys can subscribe to him at Amir Baller on YouTube. And like I said, Amir and Tony and I are going to do a chat on this channel tomorrow, which should be an awful lot of fun. Let's go through some of the starred comments here, and then we will wrap it up. Stevie J, is it true they do human trafficking and basically enslave people almost like a prison? I mean, it is true. It's one of the reasons that the SPTV Foundation exists, to help people who have been trafficked from not only out of the country, but even from state to state. And I know when you hear the word trafficking, something very specific usually comes to mind. And but the truth is, the way Scientology recruits people under false pretenses to travel long distances, in many cases from out of the country into the United States, on basically bogus visas, which they then overstay. And then they are in essentially an indentured servant role, working for Scientology full time, being paid basically nothing. And being in a position where if they don't do what Scientology wants, they could just be turned over to the authorities and deported, in all sorts of stuff. So I mentioned the SPTV Foundation because in many cases we have had to help people who were recruited even within the United States to travel, new to Scientology, made all sorts of promises, give up their job, give up their housing, travel long distances to go take a job at a relatively new org like Chicago, for example. They're promised they're going to make $1,000 a week. They promise they're going to be set up with a job, be set up with a place to stay. They end up basically with nothing and no way to get back home. That to me is an example of trafficking. Okay, Love It says, imagine telling your deepest secrets to that face and that outfit. Creepy. And CO Bilf, auditor looks like a bellhop. Yes, they all look like bellhops, thanks to David Miscavige's brilliant new Class 5 org staff uniforms. TJ Tampa, the guys are not good at acting like they are interested in Scientology. They give themselves away because they are so reluctant and sound drunk. What? I mean, I think they did a really good job acting interested in Scientology. But even, but you see, here's the thing. I did start to wonder as I was watching this video, this part 2. By the time they said they didn't want to do the one-on-one auditing sessions, I wondered if the Div 6 personnel there were close to getting to a point of just sort of being like, okay, I'm going to let this one go. And I thought it was interesting that at no point did the Div 6 staff decide this wasn't worth the trouble, or that Amir and Tony were not good prospects, or that they were not worth spending more time on. So I think that's interesting. Now, whether you want to chalk that up to them doing a good job acting interested, or whether you want to chalk it up to the Div 6 staff just being so freaking desperate for any new raw meat that walks in the door, I guess whatever you think. Okay, Renegan says flirting on the stairs. Sharona says she takes those stairs a lot, it looks like. Marilyn Honig, what do they call the attractive recruiters? Org babes or something? Oh, they called them you're probably talking about the Bridge babes. So Bridge Publications. Gavin Potter was a Sea Org recruiter for Bridge Publications for a while. He had other posts in the Sea Org as well. And he would always recruit young, hot girls who David Miscavige referred to as the Bridge babes. And that is the subject of an ongoing lawsuit. Stevie J says she is trying to seduce them. It's so obvious. Itchy Thayton says, come with me while I lead you to your room. Mrs. Bramlett Jr. So when does the PC have to unbutton their pants and unhook their bras before being audited? Is it the first session, the second session, or the third session? That is a really good question. What you're talking about only happens when you're doing auditing that involves the e-meter, and it would be the first session to answer that question. Lori Tate, I want to go undercover to the one here in Detroit. Yes, Lori, please do. Just don't use the name Lori Tate, because now they've already got you on record. Old Frizz, can they do weddings there? If so, that's probably when it's most packed. They can do weddings there, and that is where they would do weddings. And I would still argue that David Miscavige hosted international event it should have better attendance than a wedding, but who knows? It's always something says, so the courses are basically self-paced workbooks with a moderator if you have technical questions rather than substantive questions. That is correct. It's always something. All Scientology courses are self-paced with, I guess, the course supervisor is essentially a version of a moderator. And the course supervisor is not really allowed to answer any technical or substantive questions that you have. They are supposed to just refer you back to your materials and ask you what word you did not fully understand. But I think, yeah, that's the answer. Arkansas Flamingo. Oh my gosh, we drove 3 hours. Seems disrespectful. Yeah, they really wanted those auditing sessions. Abigail. Oh, you told me how to say this name. Siwanat. Abigail Siwanat. If he was even remotely persuasive, I might say it's okay that if he was even remotely persuasive, I might say it's okay that he doesn't do it, but he's not. Damn, I don't know which part of the video you're talking about. Old Frizz, that auditor guy looks creepy. Ricky says, what do you think will happen to Amir? Anything negative? If you mean like, are they going to get followed? Gosh, what's the worst thing they could do to Amir? Well, if he has a job, they could find out where his job is and try to get him fired at his job. I do wonder if Scientology would even explore the possibility of filing a police report with regards to the two-party consent rule. I also would be curious to know how the two-party consent rule, how the application of that rule applies in a space that is already being recorded. So Scientology is already recording the entire space, and you're not informed of that when you walk in the door. So does it really matter if you're recording them without their knowledge when you're being recorded without your knowledge? That's not directly related to the question that was being asked. But I think anything Scientology was going to do to Amir, they would have already done. And so I'll definitely ask him about that in our chat tomorrow. Sharona says, I remember during the height of the Chicago protests, some college kids coming out of the building talking about the dolls and how freaky they were. Yes, definitely. Ren, again, asking if he's been hypnotized confirms whether someone is more susceptible to brainwashing techniques. Okay. Lauren Todd, are some of the videos they show in the TV room available on the Scientology channel or on DirecTV? I'm curious to see what is shown to them. Excellent question, Lauren. And the answer is yes. A lot of the videos that are shown in those displays are shown on their YouTube channel and even on the website, Scientology.org, because all of those videos are intended to be appropriate for a brand new person walking in right off the street who knows absolutely nothing about Scientology. So in other words, the audience who would watch those things on the internet is the exact same audience that those videos were made for in the first place. So yes. Okay. Aya says, why was the doll there? I did answer that earlier. The doll was there. Oops. Because the doll is used for drills when they're practicing doing the auditing procedures. And you're supposed to talk to the doll instead of talking to the person holding the doll. Lord Soth, Knight of the Black Rose. So, Osa, how does it feel that people outside of Scientology know more about the workings of Scientology than the recruiter? How does the video go over in the secret society inner workings? Richard, the auditor knows he's getting played. I really don't think so. Ben Bacon Bits, the auditor is really confused why his head is tilted. Okay. Old Frizz, Aaron, what's the longest auditing session you ever had to sit through approximately? I mean, 3 hours or more would have been the longest auditing session I was stuck in. Grandpa Vape, shout out to Tony and his impeccable improv skills. His ability to yes and makes for perfecto chemistry. Itchy Thetans, the security guard needs to get back to his freshman algebra class. Mrs. Bramlett Jr., how are they going? Wait, what? How are they going to have signs that say curious and then lecture people for being curious once they're inside? Ren again, I've never been in any church walking around and questioned like that. Such paranoia built in. And Amir says, to be honest, we had a lot of face-to-face conversations with the guy sitting at the reception desk too. I just didn't include it all. Very good to know. Ricky Glazer, what is the RPF? So the RPF is the Rehabilitation Project Force, and it was basically a labor and reconditioning camp for Sea Org members. Now, Scientology has reportedly, by many independent reports, gotten rid of the RPF in the last number of years because it was basically the source of an awful lot of legal problems for Scientology. And I was told by someone who recently left the Sea Org at the Flag Land Base that here in Clearwater, Florida, that they were told that essentially the RPF as it existed was illegal. the treatment, the schedule, everything, it did not comply with the laws of the land, and therefore was just a liability. So it doesn't exist anymore. Ricky, somebody might have mentioned it in the chat, because Sea Org members who are on the RPF do wear all black. So maybe people were saying that guy was going to be assigned to the RPF, or maybe he was on the RPF, but that's what that is. Okay, Make It Make Sense says, could you react to Fred Beyer, who did an elaborate prank on Scientology by joining? It was hilarious. Well, I haven't heard of Fred Beyer or that video, but if someone wants to send it to me at growingupinscientology@gmail.com, I will take a look at it and maybe I will react to it. All right, folks, that is all we have for this evening. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you, as always, to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not,